Hello, everybody. And hi, Sammy. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It is 8 p.m. here. So we are recording at night. And I've got my tired's on. It's a Wednesday. Hey.
Yeah. Feeling that week drag on.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we'll bring the energy anyway. That's the deal, right? Surely.
That's it. Yes. Bounce off each other.
Okay. All right. So I have the beautiful Sami Sparrow here today. And Sami Sparrow is a Goulburn-based artist here in New South Wales, Australia. And she's a gorgeous, gorgeous human. And she's got a rockin' Instagram account, by the way. So go and check it out. And she's just amazing. And so I sort of cornered her and just put her on the spot and just said, hey, I need to interview you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yay! She said yes. It sounds like a proposal.
No, I was so excited to get involved as soon as you're like, let's interview. And I was like, okay.
Why not? So we met actually through the Instagram Growth Club, right, with Jade Warren. And I think we just instantly connected. I don't know. Is it just the artist thing?
Yeah, I was one of the original kind of people who started in the Growth Club. And the second that there was artists or other people that I thought I might be able to collaborate with, I was just like, jump quick, say hi, be really friendly and introduce yourself.
And I think actually so many artists are like that. I think so many of us are down to earth and just like the connection. And, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Why do you reckon that is?
I think that when you're an artist, the work that you do a lot of the time is so insular. You're creating things from within and you're putting your heart on your sleeve in a lot of the ways. But you're also creating a lot of the time alone. You're not getting out as much and creating in a group environment. So it's that need to connect with people who are like-minded and have another connection like you and an interest that you can connect with, and you just want to pull them close. You've got that companionship in a way. And I think because you do tend to work in a studio by yourself, having someone else that you can bounce off is always a really good thing. I think that the second that you just have that straight away connection, you're an artist, I'm an artist, doesn't matter if you're doing the same thing, completely opposite thing, there's a creative process involved and you want to know because it could improve your creative drive, your creative output and what you're creating in general.
Yeah, and I think also we understand maybe that journey, like not just a journey through an artwork, but just that journey and the struggles, like the inner critic and perfectionism and all of that, like we get it. Whereas sometimes I think people outside of the art world just don't quite, yes, they have the inner critic, and yes, they have perfectionism sometimes and all of that, but it's a bit of a different thing. But anyway, sorry, we've just dived right into a topic. We're going to take it back a little bit and explore who you are. So Sami Sparrow, can you tell us about you? Firstly, what's the deal with your awesome name? Like, is that your birth name?
No, Sami Sparrow is my artist name and pen name. So when I was first pulling together my first book that I had published, my publishers at HarperCollins were like, what name do you want to use? And I sat there and I was like, I'm not sure if I want people to be following me or trying to friend me on social media through my personal name. So I sat down and I had a good think. I'd been using a tag name for a few years of Slaw, which was my initials. And I just thought it doesn't quite sound right. I need to kind of think about it a little bit more. And my mum has always called me Sparrow. Or Sami Sparrow. It used to be a radio program when she was growing up. She used to listen to it in the morning or in the afternoon before or after school. And there was this weird little jingle that went with it. And my mum, she when she called me Samantha, you know, she just started calling me Sami Sparrow, and even to this day she still calls me Sparrow. So it's a really personal kind of thing. And Sammy, I spell it slightly differently because I've always been a very different person to a lot of others, and I like being different. I think that one of the scariest things for me personally in this world is being considered normal. So I like to kind of push that uniqueness a little bit more in some ways. So I know other people spell it that way, but it's not as common.
I really love it. I think it's gorgeous, and I think it's endearing, and I love that you have a jingle that goes with your name.
Yeah, I should probably look into it and find it.
Yes, please. I want to hear it.
Yeah, my mum, she used to sing it to me sometimes when I was younger. As I've gotten older, she hasn't anymore. But she still calls me Sparrow. That's just the pet name that I have with my name.
It's just so beautiful. When I first heard it, I thought with the spelling of your first name that maybe you had a Swedish, oh my goodness, Swedish heritage. But it's not true. It's not true. It's all lies.
It is all lies, unfortunately. Sorry.
I like your story better anyway. So you produce a whole lot of different art. I remember seeing one of your reels actually when I first met you. And it had one of those, I don't know, you know, those trending audios. It had an audio that said, I do this, I do this, I also do this, and I do this. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. So you have lots of different types of art and art on products. And would you like to tell people who are tuning in to us today a little bit about your art?
Yeah, so as I like to put it, I have my fingers in lots of pies. I think that being an artist, it's the way to kind of move forward and try and assert yourself within business. You need to have multiple revenue streams coming in. So I am an author. I have 3 internationally published books. 2 of them are colouring in books for adults, and one of them is a companion book for bullet journalers. Also, really, all of them are great for adults, great for kids, step-by-steps, colouring in, stencils in the third one, all of it. I've made sure that I've used good quality paper, different things like that. I wanted to kind of capture everybody, so I didn't create images that were really fine detailed. I created things that were a bit more broader and looser so that people with children could colour it in and their kids can join in with them, or elderly people could get use out of it, things like that. So that was a great adventure. Then I've also got my paintings. So you can probably see behind me, there's this one up here. I don't know how you do that. It's a mandala-y kind of thing. So it's a bit of a Zen tangle, Zen doodle, but mandala shaped. So I kind of am influenced through graffiti. So there's spray paint, there's acrylic. I use water. I like to keep it really fluid, very organic in the base. I work on wooden panels so that they can take a lot of liquids before they dry. And then I create almost a kaleidoscopic mandala on top out of shapes. Nothing touches though. I like to have that space. And that's all hand painted in watercolor, and then like a really fine film of watercolor to fill in the shape, so you can still see through it and still see the color and the stencil work that I may have done or things like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
See, this is a thing, like, and I struggle with it myself, is the difference between seeing an image of something and seeing something in reality. Like your description is like next level. And now I'm like, I want to touch this thing.
Yeah. And they're tactile. That's it. Like they have bumps of paint and everything, and you can feel the designs. The problem is they don't photograph very well. I have found that I don't get a lot of interest in them through my online website, but the second someone sees it in person, they're like, oh my God, wow. I don't know which one I want to take home.
What do you do? It's very tricky. I think that side of art is very tricky.
It really is quite tricky. So while they are something that's been a long-term passion project for me, I have stepped back a little bit from them, just because I do need to try and have some kind of income coming through from it. I can't just sit there and collect hundreds of paintings and have to store them. So that's when I started to be approached about getting some of my designs put onto products, so surface pattern design. And it was something from a very young age that I was super interested in. I always wanted my stuff on jumpers and, you know, bedding and curtains and all of that kind of stuff. I've always dreamt of doing things like that. So when I was started to get approached about things like that, I jumped at the opportunity. So I've had my work showcased in like over in England and in America at Surtech, and over in China for a couple of licensing things. And each time we went to the different shows, one would say, oh, we love that you've got hand painted stuff, but we'd really like to see what you can do with digital art. And then you do a whole digital collection, and then you take it to the next show and they go, oh no, we want to see your hand stuff. So it was really frustrating. So I do a really big collection now where I cross over between watercolor paintings and digital work. I also have the solid digital and the solid hand painted work, but that's all developed over the last 5 or 6 years. Surface pattern design isn't something that you can jump into very fast. It is a long-term build-up. Companies want to see that you're able to create consistently over a long period of time before they show interest in you or pulling you in and giving you a license, because many companies want to continuously work with you. They don't want to just do a short period of 1 or 2 things. They want to continue that relationship, which I love, because I want that ongoing relationship as well.
Because the contract work, so I haven't done any formal licensing. I've done the, you know, whatever it's called, print on demand licensing. Is that what it's called? I'm on Society 6, everybody. Go and check it out. I think I've sold 10 things through there. Anyway, because I don't push it. I don't tell anyone.
Hey, I do it as well. Look, I've got a Society 6 month here.
There you
go. I'm also on Spoonflower.
Oh, see, this is good. So Spoonflower, do they do the objects? Look at me. Do they do more than just the fabric?
So they mostly do fabric products.
Okay.
So they do, you know, cushions. They do quilt covers. I've actually got some of these products myself. They're really good quality.
So this is good.
Wallpaper. You've got your linen, so you can get sheets. You can get tablecloths. You can get table runners. You can get napkins. You can get placemats, coasters, curtains.
Okay.
So a lot of the soft furnishings basically is what they're looking at. Blankets, different things like that. I have a feeling they'll probably move into some of the ceramics or different kinds of things eventually. But when you've got so many other print on demand companies that are also pushing it, like Society 6, there's a lot to kind of take in. So you've really got to have your fingers in many pies.
Yeah,
You're
no.
going to collect different audience members.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, it's quite hard. I know our topic's sort of going a little bit like this, but never mind. People who are used to listening to me know that happens all the time. It's quite hard, I was going to say, as an artist, when you're trying to promote your product, and then you've got your original paintings on your website, you've got your prints on Etsy, you've got your, doona covers or cushions or whatever on Spoonflower, and then you're like diverting your traffic. Have you mastered that? Are you just, a whiz and a pro and,
Unfortunately, no, I have not. It is something where with Instagram, you're constantly trying to cover all bases. So I do post daily. It does take time up, unfortunately. I'm sure Jade will be horrified, but
we've got to be real. She knows with me anyway. I'm very real. So
yeah, that's it. That's it. So it's just trying to showcase. So I have a website, and I do try and have links to everything from my website. So there's a fabric place, like link on there. So it's got literally all the places you can get my fabrics. I choose where you want to get it from, basically.
That's a good idea, because because you're going to get your most profit. We've totally gone into money, but anyway, you're going to get more profit from whatever you sell on your website versus whatever you sell on another platform. So I think that's good to have people coming there first.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and it's nice for them to see the full selection, because from there you move on to some of my digital art, which I started doing, so like the birds here, they're some of my digital art. So I moved into those probably the beginning of, I don't know if it was 2020 or 2021. It was in lockdown, let's put it that way. It was imagining that we were allowed to be free and actually leave the house.
I'm not traumatized at all.
No. I was running out of paints that I was happy painting with, and I was finding paying for postage annoying, and a lot of the colors I wanted were sold out. So I just moved to my tablet and creating that way. So it was purely what was available to me at the time, and I was inspired by literally the idea of freedom, being able to get out, soar like a bird, be outside with other people, and bringing outside in, so you had that bit of a feeling of freedom. So I incorporate my native Australian birds with native Australian flowers as well.
Yeah, gorgeous.
So that whole thing became it really captured a lot of people, and I do believe I actually started creating more along those lines, because it was a bit of a crowd pleaser. It stopped being for me as such, and just started becoming a little bit more of the people are really enjoying this, people are liking it, I'm connecting with people in a different way. So it was really, really nice. And I kind of want to start moving away from that a little bit now, because I'm not feeling as inspired.
It's so hard, because I think like I've got a little bit of a streak of a characteristic, and I wonder if you're the same, which is that if something is really popular and really wanted, I'm like, yeah, but how can I do that differently? And it's almost like, destroying like something that's actually good.
I've worked out how to adapt them and do them differently. And the problem is that some of the birds that I'm doing, they're taking me over 24 hours. And realistically, people are going to look at it for about 5 seconds on a social media or a couple of minutes on my website and go, yeah, that's all right. And then move on. So in some ways, I know I should enjoy the process, but I want to do them faster.
Yes.
But I still want to keep that detail that I get in, because in some ways they're a little bit more almost photorealistic, and I think that's the issue coming out in me with it, that perfectionism. So I need to move back to my organic, natural, flowing paintings that really speak to myself.
Still digital though, or you think more paint?
No, I want to go back to paint. I can't control paint. I can
as
control
well.
a digital image.
And I think know what you mean.
That's where that kind of line is, I think, that's coming up for me, is I really need to move back into that organic, natural way of doing things.
It's really interesting, because I have totally noticed that, like in my Art for the Heart membership, that I have quite a few people in there who are graphic designers. And because I have studied design before, and I did a bit of graphics, so I understand it, I totally think it's a thing to need to lay color on a piece of paper or canvas in a, I don't know, like more organic, expressive way, and to break out of that technology and actually work with your hands. And I think that almost after years of these people doing this just graphics computer stuff, that urge is quite strong. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I definitely think that the more I'm trying to push myself to either create another bird or to continue with my digital work, the more I'm having this inner thing inside me going, no, that's not the right thing. Like, you're not inspired. And I've just, it's not that I have artist block, because I'm coming up with concepts and ideas, but I just don't have that drive or motivation.
You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
As in, you don't want to do it that way.
Yeah. So I won't lie, end of financial year, I may have spent some money on some supplies that I clearly don't need, because I do have a lot.
We're all the same. It's not just you, Sammy.
I can't help it. So I do have some things coming in the mail in the next couple of days that I'm itching to get my hands on, because I'm starting a new project, and I'm going to tackle. I'm putting it out there now so people can actually hold me accountable. I'm going to do a 100-day challenge.
Okay. So for the people who are watching, can you please find Sami on Instagram, DM her and say, how's the 100-day challenge going? That's your
hold
job.
Me accountable.
What are you on Instagram? Is it? I think I know, but
is Sami Sparrow 020. So SAMI Sparrow 020.
020. And what is the 020?
It's a family thing as well.
Is it? Okay, go. I want more family stories, evidently.
It's a number plate thing.
Oh.
So my family, we all have personalized number plates on our cars, and our numbers are always 020.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
Yeah, we my husband says we travel as a pack.
That's so nice. So do you live near each other?
My sister is 5 minutes down the road.
Okay.
And my parents are in the Southern Highlands, so they're about 40 minutes away, which isn't too bad. I do have a brother who's in Sydney as well, so we're kind of a little bit spread out, but we do kind of pull together. So I just spent the weekend with them and things like that. So we're all pretty close.
Yay! Oh, that's lovely. I live about 20 minutes from my mum, and she was just shocked and appalled that I was moving that far away. It's not Perth.
Probably the closest I've lived to my mum since I moved out of home, to be honest. So I went up to Sydney, and I've been in Canberra, and Goulburn was kind of husband was in the military at the point when we bought here, so it was kind of that point where it was close enough to get to work in Canberra, but close enough to being to family when he was posted away, so that I had that support. For military partners and spouses, you rely very heavily on family while they're deployed away.
I know a lot of people in those situations, so I've seen it, and families with 3 children as well, just balancing
I'm quite fortunate that I don't have children that have had to deal with anything along those lines, just the fur kids, and
they would miss him too.
They do, the videos of them coming home and just jumping out of their skin when they see him are wonderful. But so for me, with our first deployment and separation, it was almost more than half a year, and I was at my parents' the whole time, so I was driving back and forth from Sydney every weekend because I just didn't want to be by myself.
You can't be, I don't know, I couldn't be by myself for very long. I can for a bit, but not
I've never lived by myself until these periods of time either, so I've always been in share housing or things like that where I've been with friends, so it was kind of weird all of a sudden going from being in a relationship, still being in a relationship, just not being able to have that contact, and not having somebody in the house with you. It was really odd. So the dogs and I are like this because of that. we really bonded.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, pets are amazing for, for company. I love my pets mostly until they bite me. Seriously, I've got I've got two cats, and one of them is a little bit crazy. So they were both rescue cats, and we got them quite young, but it does make me wonder what happened, because he's very jumpy and just very on edge. And we try really hard to stay calm around him. I mean, I do have two young children, but, and he still just occasionally does things like that. So we try to come at it with empathy, but at the same time, please don't bite me. Like,
yeah, we have one of our pups. We've got two. One of them is a rescue as well, and he has quite bad separation anxiety. So that's always very interesting. He's not too bad when you first leave. He barks for a couple of minutes because we test. We'll actually leave the house and just sit out in the car for a couple of minutes to kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
And then when you come home, he's just a barrel of excitement, and he just wants to bark to the high heavens. But he's got issues, definitely. And I still feel, even though we've had him for, I'd say 7 or 8 years now, he still is coming into himself. We still find new personality traits that are coming out that we're like, where did that come from? You've got this confidence all of a sudden. So yeah, I definitely understand how different a rescue animal can be, but very rewarding at the same time.
Yes, yeah. So he's our little, we sort of look after him a little bit more carefully than the other one, who's lovable as well. Anyway, I think we're just having a little bit of a chat between friends, but let's get back onto art. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, on your journey to date as an artist, what's one, I guess you could share many, I'm sure, but what's one sort of lesson that you've learned along the way, or a challenge that you've come up against and then had to overcome? I feel like I am interviewing you, Sami, but it sounds more like a job interview. Tell me about a time where you overcame a challenge.
Practice, actually. So I think challenges are an interesting thing. I think sometimes I'm my own worst challenge, to be honest. I do. I'm a very hard critic. I can be very difficult and hard on myself. I do push myself very hard, and even when I achieve my goals, I sometimes just go straight from that achievement into next. What's next? And I don't always celebrate or take that moment to kind of appreciate what I've actually created or produced or achieved. So I think sometimes that can be quite challenging. I've been a very long-term creator. I've created since I was a child. I was nurtured into this kind of being from a very, very young age. If you check out my bio, it says I was born with a crayon in my hand. Because I genuinely have been drawing, creating, painting ever since I was an extremely young child. But it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, early 30s that I realized how strongly my creativity was connected to my mental health. And if I do not create for a period of time, I do find that I'm either irritable or I get grumpy, or my mental health tends to deteriorate quite a bit. So I think that people who do find that they're struggling with mental health issues, if they tried to find a way to become a creative, just find some kind of creativity to kind of express themselves. Doesn't have to be painting, doesn't have to be drawing. It could be knitting, sewing, sculpture, gardening,
accounting.
Exactly. There's so many different ways to be creative. It could be as simple as going out and picking up like a kid's coloring in book and some pencils. Like, just get it out, get those emotions out in some way. And I think it comes back to, I don't know if it's like an instinctual thing from multiple generations ago, where we used our hands a lot more, and we were connected with having to develop those kinds of intuitive ways of working. I don't know, maybe I think
it's something about like, I'm going to sound like a hippie now, but like our connection to the earth through actually touching something and working with something. Like, I actually think there's something about that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm happiest when I have paint under my nails. Definitely, it makes me really happy, and I feel content. I guess is a good way of putting it.
And I think, like you were saying, it doesn't, for people who need that release, I mean, we all need that release somehow. Other forms of creativity are just as valid. Maybe there's also something in that, because it's time, I don't know, what is it? What am I trying to say? The time to themselves that's not related to work, essentially. It doesn't have a clear purpose, but other than actually being in that moment and doing that activity at that time.
Yeah, and I think it always takes up more of your brain capacity as well, because you're not thinking about other things. You are really involved in getting into what you're creating. You're not thinking about emails, you're not thinking about the kids or what other people might think. Well, you shouldn't be anyway. You can really go in deep mentally when it comes to creating something. And as I said, like, it could be as simple as going out into the garden and moving some soil around. That's one of the things I like to go out when I'm doing my spray painting and acrylic on board for my mandala images. I always do it outside. I always have no shoes on. So it could be the middle of winter and absolutely freezing. I've done it in the rain even, because I can't control the way the paint falls if it's in the rain.
Yes, I like that.
I love seeing what results I get from it that way. But I always like to connect to the earth that way while I'm creating. And I definitely find that rewarding's not the right way of putting it, but it's soothing. It's really, it's nourishing.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. It's almost grounding as well. That's beautiful.
So I don't know if that's really like a challenge or something that I've overcome, but I definitely think that in this day and age, mental health is something that we're very much aware of. And I definitely feel like, for me, in my journey, I've grown through many experiences with my creative life. And I think one of the biggest challenges and aspects of development for me has been realizing that connection with my mental well-being and my creative output. Doesn't have to be for creating for sales or anything like that. It's literally creating purely for me. And for the process itself. I think that's And
I love that you're sharing that as well, because one, you're being vulnerable and open, but two, you're trying to share that message to help others. So that's really, really beautiful.
Definitely. I think it's definitely one of those things that if I can help other people, I'm always going to like kind of encourage that type of thing.
Well, actually, talking about helping other people, Sami, you were so beautiful, and you did a little bit of a surface pattern design masterclass in my membership. So thank you.
That was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. The people involved in it, they've been so lovely and reaching out and thanking me and asking me more questions. So always happy to help. it's a tough road. It really is, but it's so worthwhile if you eventually get there in the end.
Yeah, well, you made it so I was going to say easy. It's not the right word, but you were very clear in your teaching. So you just demonstrated all the steps, but not just the steps, the easy fixes, like easy hacks to not be making the mistakes that you made, which is normal, by the way.
Totally normal. But like, if I can stop someone else from making those mistakes, those silly mistakes that I made at the beginning, I would love to do that, because it's one of those things where I'm now going back and redoing some of those original works because I've got a lot of interest in them, but I can't use them. So I'm having to go back and redo the whole thing from scratch, which I just find so frustrating. It's like it was a waste of time. But in some ways, I needed to also make those mistakes to realize what I needed to do properly in the future. So, yeah, I definitely loved helping out the group, and hopefully they'll have a good experience and be able to learn from some of my mistakes.
Well, a lot of the ladies are very inspired, and they obviously love the session. So I shall keep you up to date on their progress.
Please do. I would love to see some patterns if anyone starts making it.
Okay. I'll give them another little nudge. Well, Sami, thank you so much for your time today. So we know your Instagram handle. I'll see if I can remember it. Sami, Sami Sparrow 020.
Yeah.
Yay. Over on Instagram. And are you anywhere else? So you've got your website. Have you got a Facebook page?
I do also have a Facebook page. A lot of the content is mirror imaged from my Instagram. I do tend to put a few bits and pieces on there as well, but realistically, Instagram's where it's at for me. I'm a visual person.
As are most of our listeners, I think, from what I can tell anyway. And then what is your website? I'll put it underneath this video.
SamiSparrow.com. Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say my Instagram handle again, but that's not it. It's SamiSparrow.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so you can jump on there. There's different areas of what I've been working on. You can get my books. I've got products that I've made, some scarves with some of my designs on them.
Oh, your scarves are amazing.
Thank you.
I was eyeing them off, just so you know.
They're lots of fun, and I know I'm due for a new one coming up. I only ever do a limited release, so there's only ever 15 made, and I actually keep a couple of those for myself.
Yay!
So you're not necessarily going to run into anybody with these things. I've had them go over to America and over to England, so they are really spread out over the world, which is really good. But I've got some earrings up there from collaborations I've done in the past. I'm a little bit of a Halloween kind of themed. So that was a collaboration from last year for Halloween. So there's some cute designs up there, paintings, books, all of the stuff that I've been working on.
And I saw a photo of your dogs too.
Yes, they will definitely be photos of my dogs.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate. I did a lovely photo shoot with a dear friend of mine from Canberra. She came up and took photos of me in my studio, and she had to include my dog.
Very important.
Yes.
So thank you, Sami. Lots of love from me, and we'll chat soon in the DMs, probably just straight after this.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Sami.